Welcome back, everyone, to the fourth and final game. And, well, we have yet to see if we're going to get a copy of the circle for 3 and 2, or 3 and 4. We are going to see pretty much a carbon copy of the plane route. So, once again, another thing to compare with previous games. But yes, this is Auzom Premier League. Game number 4, final game of the day for EU. We've seen some great games so far, and actually this is something that I recognized at the end of game 3, Moses, is that while not getting a first place or even really looking to be contesting for a first place, TSM is the only team to get top 5 all 3 games.
Yeah, the sneakily good day for them. I think that's something that is undersold about TSM, is their ability to react to situations that are essentially, not optimal. So if they lose too early, they did put themselves in a decent enough position to ride the circle into the end game. Doesn't mean they're a particularly active team, but again, the idea is placement and trying to do their best. Not a ton of kills coming out, not of flashy moments. We saw some clashes between FaZe and Vitality in game number 1 and game number 2. And, that's something that's easy to remember as we see FaZe landing at their official home of Mill to Power. And that's something that you can kind of remember. But TSM has been, just grinding it out, slow and steady, just getting into the top 5 on the back of good positioning or maneuverability, whatever you want to call it. And they've been able to do quite well. So at least from a position or from a placing standpoint, we've seen teams, and we were talking about this during the break. Talking about we're going Northwest again. So we've been talking about how it seems that the teams that are the most active in the mid game have the hardest time transitioning into the end game. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible for Cup of Magic to drive his car in a straight line without breakdancing?
Probably not.
Do you think it's possible in some way? And what would you change right now to make the mid game a more rewarding experience for those who exhibit aggression, for those who take fights, for those who do battle, like we saw Method doing their best to displace someone, only then to be in turn rewarded by getting wiped by Zokt and Nam, who were apt to just hold a building for most of the mid game? What would you change?
Well, it's when I first heard this idea, this is an idea posed by someone else a while ago, and I didn't bring this up when we were talking about this just before this game, but I'm going to posit it to you, is that, and it's weird because it feels almost like it makes this game like a fantasy game, but hey, balance is balance. It's a video game nonetheless. If it makes the game better, is the fact that revives aren't free. You have to get a kill and then pick up like an item off of that body to then use that item to revive a teammate.
Oh, like a card or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if the adrenaline syringe was the only item to be able to res a teammate or something like that. I kind of understand where you're coming from, but a thought here, this would be this is, to go along the fantasy route. We've seen, movies, the Mockingjay, what the hell is that? The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games, where you can reward players. And we saw some news on Twitter about this a little while ago, about how I think it's Islands of Nine or an upcoming Battle Royale title might have the ability to be influenced by the viewers. Now, obviously we don't want to see an absolute parade of crates raining onto TSM every Thursday, because I'm aware that there are a lot of TSM fans that watch this game. We have some high profile players playing in this game, Andy Pyro as well. But even then, if you were to secure a team wipe, what if a crate was to just spawn on top? Not like, a plane was to spawn a crate on top of you. You would still have to contest it. But in that area or around you, a crate would spawn, and that would be a bit of a reward. You might have some level 3 armor in there, maybe a new helmet, because ultimately grinding out in the mid and early game leads to your meds being depleted, your armor being depleted, and then you just can't keep that momentum going unless you absolutely destroy everyone in your path, like we've seen in the past. But that's very rare. Even teams like FaZe, even though I would consider the best team fighting squad in this game, to be able to maintain the momentum and keep going with the aggression.
Who here, which fan of Method paid off Battlegrounds to give Andy Pyro an AWM and an 8x scope and a ghillie suit?
See, that's how quickly they get the change in the game. We were just talking about popular players having crates dropped on top of them, and Andy's just like, hey, AWM landing right on top of me, and there's no one here to contest it. So
okay,
I think just Jempty's taking down. Oh, it looks like he took down Monkey. They meet again. Vitality and FaZe.
Anyway, sorry. Well, it's cutting off your point. I feel like you had an ending that you wanted to go through.
No, not at all. I guess I'm just kind of just trying to put it out there to see that there, like we've now established the 16 teams. I like the 16 team lobbies. I like the circle settings. I think that all of these things are great. I even like Erangel. I don't mind if Miramar is not even a part of the discussion. But I think there needs to be incentive for some of these teams to show their skills. You know, Method is a very high skilled fragging team when given the time and space. And now that the time and space is there, I think that these fights should be rewarded. And that's just something that would make the game more enticing for the players to take that action, take those fights, as we see for Method.
Oh!
Already.
We spoke way too soon. It is Karma coming at them heavy. Alliance with a triple wipe onto Method, losing the AW. The Alliances, thank you very much, Courier. Bringing this to us is exactly what we wanted. Amazon delivery is always on time. Prime is free 2-day delivery. And we got it right on our doorstep. Ooh, that is heartbreaking.
That call sponsored by Amazon. So Alliance picking up a transitioning Method, and now it's only Leighton all by himself in Pachinki. The loot is gone, his team is gone, and now he's going to have to ride this game all by himself. I think they were all three in the three-seater motorcycle, and you know the three-seater motorcycle is not known to be safe on its own.
And they went into that compound without scouting it out ahead of time, whether through one solo person on a bike or using a hill to gain vision and spot into. That's I don't want to assume anything, but that's a curious. I can't figure out a reason.
Look where Alliance is. Look where Alliance is. They came through the middle of the map, through the fields.
Yeah.
Came around the bowl, had to avoid the bowl by the ruins, and then drove right upside Alliance. Probably on the way to the base of the mountain, having that vision with the scope and the AWM. They wanted to probably get a spot nearer to the center of the circle.
I'm aware, Cam. I'm not saying it was the right choice. Oh, I'm racking my brain to why that decision was that. Oh, okay. Well,
sucks.
Hopefully, whatever decision it was that led to that, hopefully something was learned, because that's just unfortunate to watch.
The AWM curse does not stop haunting you in competitive games. You know, the crate curse is alive and well, and unfortunately for Method, they were at the receiving end of said crate curse. So sad ending for Andy so far, unable to probably even fire a round. It reminds me similarly to the games I play. Whenever I touch an AWM, I get struck by lightning essentially right afterwards.
That's why I don't even bother.
So don't even go to the crates.
No.
So Alliance in the center, picking up some nice kills and some loot. And for the most part, we've seen teams settle into their early game compounds. So now, Cam, looking at the teams on the field and the score as it currently stands, TSM has been sneaking their way into the top 5.
Yeah.
FaZe has had a first couple of games. Who are you looking for here in game number 4?
I'm looking to see if Zoltanam can really put it out, because we saw that they had a troubling first 2 games, but after seeing that they're definitely more success on game 3, you have to suspect that maybe it's just their struggles transitioning into the Millie base. And now that we get a 4th game, a second one in this series, not in the Millie base, let's see if they can't light it up, because they did a decent amount of work. It was just unfortunately ending in that flat plane right under that hill that ended up being the struggle for not just them, a number of different teams. Vitality coming out on top because they were able just to see everyone and just kind of hose them all down, still being 4 strong. So let's see if they can't put anything out this time around with a good position somewhat central in the middle of the map.
So looking at the scoreboard, the way it's set currently, the Knights are in first place, 647 points, a commanding lead over second place Vitality with 532 points. The Knights have 33 kills, the most in the lobby by 10. Vitality with 23. FaZe significantly out of first place, but still holding on to 3rd. Actually very close to Penta in 4th with 421 points. And TSM, 372 points in 5th place. So a large amount of dispersion among the top here, as we see Alliance still engaging, staying active here in the early game. Sigsy, the benefactor of Andy Pyro's AWM, taking down Mista TV. So that's another pickup here for Alliance, who is very active here early in this game. And we'll be interested to see how FCE responds to the pressure now being applied by Meter. But Cam, there's a huge amount of points. 300 well, a little bit less than 300 points between first place Knights and fifth place TSM. TSM with 8 total kills through game number 3 here. Game number 4 might be a reversal of fortune. But even then, we have teams like Alliance, 6th place, 2 kills. But it's a good placing for Alliance considering the kill count. But you got to wonder if TSM picks up a few more frags here, they could very easily be closer to Penta and FaZe and up the scoreboard.
Ooh.
Another AWM, 2 8Xs in there. That's a nice crate.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna have you keep talking right now because I'm trying to figure out why my bit rate keeps tanking.
All right, no worries. So just around the performance of the teams this evening, as we see the transitioning teams making their way in, FaZe top right just by the Pollyanna Lake, coming in again close to Vitality. I don't know if this is it can't be intentional, but the circumstance continues to put FaZe and Vitality in each other's paths. Alliance now shooting down onto the held compound outside of the the North George Mountain, South George Mountain, I should say. So Alliance looking down off of Everest onto the garage compound just to their north. We'll see if they wanted to keep transitioning along the top of this thing, maintaining that vision. But I've been very impressed to see here VZ. Easy for him, 4 kills so far, picking up all the kills on his team. TSM a little bit north of the river, holding a spot that I've seen many teams hold in natural cover in the hills. That's going to be a good spot for them as the Knights now come under fire. FCE and Alliance pinching them between the yellow house and the mountain here. So the Knights trying to find a spot. Alliance might want to come over and take a look at Voxic using that motorcycle to scout out this area. We see the circle transitioning again now, and the shrink has come in. TSM and everyone will stay in, but that river, the ever-present river, still essentially cutting the play zone in half. But a lot of even spread between the south and northern portion. We don't see any explicit need for river play just yet. Exalt Gaming and FaZe getting a little close to each other. FaZe actually coming to a very powerful spot in the map, picking up a nice compound there. Looks like they're just scouting, being slow. Mini Fridge Jr. and the Rector Obnoxious. There's a lot of poking happening right now, so we'll see how this continues to develop. So Alliance now opting to choose the ruins over the mountain, crashing into the church next to Noxious Gaming. We see Zokton Nam actually pressing right on top of Mini Fridge Jr. Mini Fridge Jr. shooting some shots onto Diggle Raves. Diggle Raves in the UAZ having to veer away, headed to the water. I'm not sure if he's going to have to use it just yet, but he should be able to get away as Mini Fridge Jr. is establishing his territory here just outside the ruins. I like it. Cam,
yeah,
report on the bitrate.
All I can assume right now is just the ISP is screwing up. There's nothing I can do other than just pray, but that's all it says here. He doesn't even need to do that because he gets another shot at that AWM. Picked up off of Method and gets a kill on the Sigsy.
So Sigsy actually taking down,
no,
I
Sigsy
believe
won't
that
get the kill
was,
onto
Mini Fridge. Yeah, Mini Fridge. Mini Fridge is down. So Alliance has taken up residence in the church just south of Noxious. So Noxious getting down there. Simsy in the river already. I think he's being held out as the Knights, Vitality on top of him, shooting down from the bridge area, and FaZe there as well. FaZe posturing now.
Ooh,
look towards Vitality. They are stuck on the bridge. FaZe now firing down, and Vitality having to back off. So Shadow sneaking away, no shots landing except for potentially on his vehicle. They're gonna have to park that thing inside to make sure that they can maintain the tires. So FaZe has heard the call, and Oraxi has to jump into the river to avoid them. So now this is where we see FaZe at their strongest. When they establish that there is a potentially tied up team or distracted team, they will spread out and take some shots there. Jempty playing the forward man again. As we move now to Wookie Bookie and company, Lumber Mill, moving up towards Exalt Gaming.
It's going to be a straight fight. Don't know if either of these teams is aware of each other's presence, but there's just a small little hill in between them, and they are spotted out. Breakskill gets a spray down. The Trifelli, any trades coming to? No, he gets the full-on kill without being traded out. Hides behind the tree, and it's 4 strong nades coming through from Lumber Mill. See, they can't find their mark. quite close range,
Those are
but
close.
yeah, they're close, but they don't get a drop. Maybe a little bit of tickle damage. You see Breaksco actually down below half HP, but you do Mayfire coming down on the side corner, trying to see if he can find a separate angle, gets a couple of damage, and actually gets the drop on a Gustav. Understands what Stab's position is as well. Prone's down, also with the jump, just to try and dodge as many shots as possible. And look at that wide flank from their fourth member on Udir's right there, getting the full surround onto Lumbermill. Lumbermill trying to go in full retreat, but it's not going to happen. Lumbermill going out first, losing 4, not even getting a single drop. Can't get any lasting damage onto Exalt Gaming, and Exalt continued to maintain position in the northern end of the new zone.
And you can see that the space that now affords Exalt, they've cleared out all of Lumbermill. Lumbermill unable to trade and get anything going against Exalt. So Exalt now has several hundred meters between them and their next team. However, those two teams are TSM and FaZe. Penta held up in the compound just to the southwest of FaZe, but ultimately this next transition is going to decide whether or not we go north or south here. So we'll see which side the coin lands on here, and we'll see if anyone has to come across the circle now transitioning. Ooh. It is going to be fully south. So now we will see teams like TSM, Rogue, Exalt, most of Penta and FaZe all having to cross. So Vitality in a good spot to zone FaZe out. They are already in their vehicles and on the move. They're going to try and, I guess, use their vehicles to either crash or cross the bridge. As we see the Knights now looking like they're going to put some pressure. So ultimately, Cam, if you are these northern teams, is your first thought the water or the bridge?
My first thought is one water. And then, well, maybe not perhaps the bridge. But I definitely wouldn't do full water just yet. They could do the, I mean, perhaps if they're able to scout out where the other team's positioning are, they could try and make the full swim across. It's a very hard decision nonetheless. Meter right now holding in ruins. A couple of shots at Penta, trying to make their way past. Tree is covering his vision for now, but Penta had to stop because TSM coming up right behind them. Rory already getting taken out by Ultra, and Vis trying to continue his UAZ into the water, and he is going to be able to make it.
Break and APR go down as well.
That's
so
brutal.
TSM, the initial transition not working out. Alliance picking up a few more kills here. You have to wonder, that early transition into the water, did TSM have some options? They could have gone north around the edge of the zone and crossed around the Georgia area, which is empty. But the straight break into the water, leading to TSM losing 3 members early again with 15 teams still remaining. That could have very easily dashed their hopes for a good finish here, but we have seen them come back from this in the past, so we will see how that works out now. But FaZe also in transition, Chronix and Exalt Gaming moving up to the bridge area. But that is that for most of TSM. So we'll see how Vis can maintain his positioning here in the end game, but he will be spending a lot of time underwater, I believe, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a couple members of Exalt Gaming right here jumping into the water of their own, but at the same time, they're also not in a bad position to deal any damage to other players trying to breach onto the south edge. Meter right now gets some nice long-range shots onto Breaksco, though. The last player from Exalt isn't going to find the rest of his teammates. And, well, and Vis, we actually saw him take quite a bit of damage as well, down to, it looks to be 30% HP. And now that he's coming across the beach, is there enough cover at that specific area to hide himself from Crispira and Mini Fridge Jr.? Because TSM don't want to go out in 15th, especially after they've already established themselves up near the top of the scoreboard. We may have jinxed them, but we'll see what happens. Vis doesn't seem to have any goals on beaching just
goal
yet.
is to stay alive.
Yeah, so, exactly. I mean, he doesn't have it. He doesn't want to get on land just yet. He doesn't have to. There's no reason to. It's way too risky. Especially because they definitely know his position. They've been taking shots at him all this whole time.
Yeah, I believe now. Oh, looks like Stigsy spotted another guy out there across. I believe that was Udir taking some fire from Alliance. So Alliance very active. Stigsy and the rest of Alliance now with 7 total kills very early in the game. 15 teams remaining with 7 kills. That's a lot. So we see FaZe in the water. They are going to transition across. I think that they're going to want to be the first ones out. So right now it's a matter of Vitality continuing to apply pressure to Exalt Gaming, which will allow FaZe to get out of the river and near where Mini Fridge and the rest of Noxious are held up. FaZe not one to chill in the water, but we will see what this circle does. They might want to wait just a little while before breaching. Sigsy landing some shots onto Mixie in the water. So I'm liking the idea here. They do have to get across, but Alliance holding them into the water. There's nothing they can do. It's so slow to get out of the water. There's nothing they can really do to make that exit any more quickly. But it looks like Penta is there as well. So they're kind of held in. So until Alliance is displaced from this church, there's nothing that these water teams can do. There is rocks. There is an ability to get out. Looks like Mixie will make landfall. Yeah, that's going to be good for them. He now has to put pressure onto Sigsy and get around these trees. So I'm liking the idea here, but Noxious is waiting. Mixie the first one up. He's going very aggressive, has to stop and wait. He sees the car. He must know someone is there. Now he has to wait for his team to rejoin him. He's going to stop and med. Now, FaZe making landfall is a big deal here. If they can stay 4 strong and displace Noxious, they're going to have a great spot here.
Oh, Mixie just gets taken out by a couple of Magic actually on just the northeast on that little island between the bridge. So it's not the angle that they were worried about, but it is the angle that deals the damage. And Hextech also taking down to 50 HP from a similar angle, nonetheless, taking shots from multiple directions. And these two from God, what team is that? Noxious. Two from Noxious. They're hearing these shots, so they're definitely aware that people are trying to climb up at this point, but it doesn't look like they want to take the fight just yet. It's too risky for them. Vitality, on the same time, they're not going through the water. They're just trying to bomb into their vehicles, and Shiv takes a lot of damage, but he is able to hide behind the wall and med up. Hope that the rest of his team is able to join him soon, but they do have to worry because just to their south is FCE 4 strong. Could continue to do a lot of damage.
Absolutely. Now, this transition has actually alleviated some of the pressure onto FaZe, but as I say that, Fuzzface now goes down. That AWM of Sigsy continues to rain havoc on everyone around them. So now it's Alliance picking up even more kills. Alliance very active, destroying all the teams around them, and now this water is becoming a huge choke point. FaZe has missed their opportunity, not by any problems of their own or decisions of their own, but this unable to make landfall without Alliance completely gatekeeping them. So Vitality has made it into the ruins. Their prospects looking a little bit better, but FaZe unable to get landfall at full strength. And now all the water teams around them have basically surrounded them. Penta coming up right on top of Hax. Hax taking down Ultra, picking up a kill there. So Hax now holding last man standing at these rocks. Lots of pressure still raining down on him, Cam. So this water is playing a factor here. It's going to come out here very soon, but not before it takes a lot of people with it.
I do like how a lot of these teams are trying to make landfall sooner rather than later, because we've seen how water can keep you alive momentarily, but you definitely don't have a shot into the late game. And so I definitely like to see them trying to at least put up a fight. But right now, VZ, his eyes are set behind him, aware that Vitality are close by as well as other teams. But Alliance position, we've seen teams in similar positions right them in the position to take care of a lot of different teams and not be able to fulfill their duty. But Alliance are doing just that. Broder now, though, good damage on a cup of magic. Now he falls himself back into the water because we saw him taking some shots from another angle as well.
I'm really liking the fact that Alliance has managed to stay this active.
Yes. Without
taking too many. I think they did lose one at some point, as we see here. Exalt putting some pressure into Zokta and Nam here. Looks like they're going to try and, I don't know if Exalt has a path here. They're just going to use this little ridge to try and maintain some vision, but Chronex having to med here. Dingle Rape's getting the med off as well. So how do these teams get away from this area now that the water is completely out of the zone? That's going to be a huge transition. This is another thing we were talking about. This 4th and 5th circle is an absolute meat grinder, regardless of the circle or the amount of teams playing. Now they all have to come out of the water. They all have to come out of the ruins, and it's going to be a bloodbath here, as there's just no room for maneuverability for a lot of these teams.
The real question is, how long do Alliance as well as Noxious stay trying to gatekeep this edge? Because neither of them are in the circle at this point. Do they stay and continue to do as much damage and keep all these teams out to climb up the positioning rankings? Or do they try and take an early foothold in the zone and then continue that same job but from a more inland place, which would in turn give the teams from the water a better chance? But feed is messing up a little bit. Ah, here we go. Okay. I think we're good.
So we have Vis, the sneaky Vis, still alive, unable to med. However, I Am Larry is just like scoping him out, waiting for an opportunity here. He looks like he's going to try and pop some meds. I Am Larry is recognizing he is going to have to make a break out of the zone. Things are looking very dire for TSM here. He's going to be the last man out of the zone. He's got people looking at him. FaZe is still in this. I believe he's, I think Hax is all by himself. He's going to have to wait for Penta to move. Nothing he can really do just yet but wait. So we will see Dingle Raves finish off Chronix. So that is going to be it for Exalt Gaming. And now the transition is beginning. I am Larry, the last man standing for his team. Alliance actually 4 up. They did not lose anybody. And they have 11 total kills here. We'll see Lux go down. Tamil will go down. Vis is done as well. So Alliance unable to stay and finish off some of these guys. I believe we might have lost Hax. I know Hax is medding. And Zoktin Nam is still 4 strong, running through the open field right in front of Alliance. They're going to have to... Oh, that's actually Noxious to their right. So Noxious actually chilling, waiting for some people to transition in front of them. You wonder if Noxious is going to pop up and try and flank here. They are out of sight of almost everybody. And knowing that a lot of people are going to be coming out of the water, they might sneak in behind everyone, Cam.
Well, Noxious so far have been playing very safe. They haven't been taking shots on the beach in the way that Alliance were, even though they were in a comparable position to do so. But right now, it's actually a fight between Zoktir Nam running directly into Alliance. Still not yet in the zone, but you can see how they wanted to do a little bit of a spread out and maintain control. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Sigzy in the ghillie suit, hiding in the corner, hoping to... Oh, actually, yeah, that nade wasn't enough. Didn't go for the revive.
I think Sigzy and Meter are the last 2 standing. They did lose 2 very quickly there. So Zoktin Nam unable to finish them off just yet. Sigzy making some noise, trying to get some fire. Here comes a nade. All he's done is basically telegraph his position. That nade might have landed over. He's going to have to vault. Maybe, I don't know if he's going to try and come in behind here. Meterbot was waiting in behind him. The noise that Sigzy was making distracted Zoktin Nam, and now Meter has found himself inside the zone, but is unable to finish the trade. Now it's going to have to be Sigzy coming in behind, but he's taking too much damage from the zone. So Alliance, he's going to get... So that's going to be Alliance taking 3 casualties here. Sigzy stuck in the zone. He cannot pop over. Brennish now has him completely zoned out, and that circle is just going to tick away. He's got no time to maneuver. And just like that, we are with 7 teams remaining.
Yeah, and a lot of solos as well amongst these 7 teams, but a couple that are quite strong. Looking at LFO on the left of your screen, just behind that hill, are still full strong. Sane and Wick here, though, from Purge, are only up 2, and they're going to have to run right through this full squad, and they do a complete 180 once shots are thrown at them. Figure out another way, but there's another angle spotted at them into the west. It's actually Rogue, who I believe are 3 strong, yes, indeed. And so that's... Purge, that's a tough break for them at this point. There's really not a safe path for them to make their way through, and they're probably gonna have to fight when it comes down to it. But being down to only 2 people alive, it's not gonna be terribly easy for them. But we've seen people turn fights that are worse in their favor.
Yeah, that's well, as we see Brandish getting taken down by a nade there. So that coming via FCE full strength, like you mentioned. Now we have Wick and Sane here, still holding on. It's 2 strong, but they're coming up against a full-strength LFO held inside a compound right ahead of them. The circle is pressuring them. Not looking great here. It looks like they are going to crawl into the zone here to try and med. Not wanting to give up the kill points, but that circle already doing a ton of damage is likely going to finish these 2 off very quickly when it finishes its transition. Looks like they're going to just try and hold on as best they can. They know that the situation is dire. They have no path into the zone. So now we have Rogue. Oh, he's going to grunt for it and actually give up the kill regardless. And now it's just going to be Wick. Will he try and get in? It looks like he will. I was going to say he had the low side cover, but it just wasn't quite there. So LFO picking up the last remaining kills on the south end of the zone, clearing out the entire area around them, while Noxious sneaking in to number 4 slot will continue through this game. But it looks like it's going to be mostly Rogue, LFO, and the FCE. Remnant, and so the full strength FCE. Yes,
who have a crate. Don't know if they picked that up yet.
I'm not sure if they are inclined to jump out and loot this late in the game. But so far, so good. We are going to have a 3-way fight here. The zone providing little to no cover. We'll see what this next transition looks like, and it might be a tough one here, depending on where it is weighted. If it stays center, it's going to be an open battle, but hopefully one of these teams, if they've said their circle prayers, will get the advantage here.
Looks like the 2 remaining from Noxious Gaming, staying safe so far, are at least suspect, if not fully aware, of Rogue's positioning just south of them, and it looks like Rogue is going to win the circle lottery. Ewang doing the push up. It could be potential 1v2, but he could win this. But if not, we'll be getting a lot of information. He hasn't come across them just yet. Back down to prone again, which certainly Purge have heard. Sorry, not Purge. Noxious Gaming. Now he's going to make the full run back. But again, no shots from Noxious. You have to... I mean, at the one hand, you want to say, why are you guys being so safe? On the other hand, hey, they're already fourth.
Well, Crispier can see him. What they're doing is they're waiting to see who is there. They know that with this many players left alive, there's at least a couple of full-strength teams left. If Crispier makes those shots and Rogue has 4 players with him, those shots will, be in vain and they'll be easily eliminated. But right now,
it's
looks
FCE.
like FCE has come up from behind and they're doing the exact same thing that we were just talking about. FCE coming almost out of nowhere and eliminating Noxious, so picking up some nice kills there. 1 down, Yuho is down, so they're gonna have to get the res there. So now it's going to be a battle for this side of the hill. They do have the low side cover, but Rogue has already cut that sight line off. You see Jazza has that sight line on the low side of the hill, so he can provide info for his team. But LFO lurking full strength outside the zone. It is moving slowly, but moving nonetheless. Now LFO is going to be coming in right behind Rogue, and the shots ring out. Jazz's low side position now compromised. Bladesito taken very low, having to med. This is going to be intense, Cam. We're going to see a lot of action here very shortly.
Yeah, here comes a full rush of LFO up to Rogue's position. Rogue can't get a full drop just yet. Right when I say that, Fevin takes out Longo. Bladesito also goes down. So it's 2 for 0 so far. But FCE going to come in and deal damage back in return to Rogue. That is going to be the case. Trades back and forth across the board. Now the Blues coming in is pushing these 3 teams all together. And I don't know who has the advantage at this point in the game. Fluffin sound goes that. It's not Rogue. Rogue are down out. It's actually FCE. Still 3 strong. Still 3 standing in the middle of the zone. And only 1 remaining from LFO, who has to revive his 2 remaining teammates. Or make that 1 remaining teammate. And I don't know if he's going to be allowed to do so. Don't know if there's any space for him to do so with the blue. Without vision from FCE. Juho, you see there on the top, peeking around the corner. They have their eyes set everywhere. They have no clue where Nayu is.
No, this is going to be a situation that's very dire for LFO. FCE, the benefactor of those situations where Rogue and LFO were essentially battling each other, trading, and then FCE picking up a few kills. So this looks like it's FCE's game to lose as Longo is down and there's nothing he can do, as it looks like he has been spotted, and now Nayu is receiving fire, and that is going to be it as FCE come out of the blue and into the win here, #1 overall, picking up some nice kills through the end game, whereas LFO rode their position into a #2. Rogue 1 man down, picking up #3. Noxious crawling their way to #4. And that is Wick, Kane, I Am Phil, and Sane, and picking up #5. Zoktin, Nam, and the rest. Alliance, a sad but very active #7. Look at all of those kills. That is an intense. That's for a #7 team.
Yeah,
you gotta see like how much that was, like a great boon in the mid game, but to prove their point earlier, not necessarily reflective of end game success, Cam. So that's tough for them.
Looking at 16 kills, that's a scoreline they expect to see for 1st or 2nd place, not 7th. And at the same time, FCE, they do come in first, but 10 kills, so they were quiet for the most time. But hey, it's all about placements, it's all about positioning at this point, so good for them to come out on top. They took the final fight when they needed to. They didn't go straight into the zone from their positioning on the east-northeast. They wrapped around the top and were able to crush Rogue accidentally, but crush them nonetheless. Against Bladesito, Nayu, Longo, and Dynamic from LFO. Good games all around, and this is the first time that we actually see none of the previous top 5s in this top 5, so this one's really going to upset how today's standings are going to go, which could affect a lot, because if you all remember, Auzom's point system isn't just a straight copy-paste from the points that you earned in the series. Each series is treated as its own game, and so that makes things a little interesting and makes things a little different. And I'm curious to see what this last game, how that's going to affect all the standings. Nonetheless, that is going to be it for us here at Auzom on the EU side. We do have NA coming up in just a few short hours later tonight, but that is it for us at EU. Yep. 4 great games. I had fun. I hope you all did as well. And Moses, do you have any parting words?
No. Camry, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter. It's actually up on your screen right now at the very top left, as is Moses at CamryD and at WTF Moses. If you want to follow Skyline, the best, in my opinion, best observer in the entire Battleground Sea, you can follow him at Skyline Overwatch. Also does a bit of commentary himself when he feels like coming out of his little dark room. Or I guess it's still dark when he does commentary. Anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful experience. Another awesome day in auzom APL. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone, and we'll see you next time.